Hello, Devonport Primary School, how can I help? I love it because it's contact with adults and contact with the kids as well. Thanks for the notebook. That's great. You can go back to class now. Some teachers bring me photocopying or laminating, jobs like that they don't have time to do. But if I was having to stand like you all day, I just couldn't do it.
Some of it means accepting help and limitations, which can be difficult sometimes if you're really independent. You know, when I'm at a function where I'm standing and I'm thinking, okay, I can't stand for a moment longer and there's no chairs, I have to actually be able to go, my legs don't work 100% and I really need to sit down right now, you know. Just started a new job. I'm the General Manager for Alzheimer's Auckland. Basically, my philosophy is my MS doesn't stop me doing the job, and if I thought it would, I wouldn't apply for that particular job. I have experienced people in jobs kind of not sending me to things because they think I will get too tired, you know, and it's like, don't make that decision for me, I'll make that decision.
David Ashton and his second wife Sandy both have secondary progressive MS.
It was becoming more apparent that I needed some support. Support was not available as long as my ex-wife was working. I suggested that we go back to America so that she had the support of her family. We did go back. It just became too difficult and we separated.
If your relationship was not grand before the diagnosis, it's not going to be grand after the diagnosis, and relationships do end.
It's just hard to sit back and watch something that you have no control over. Not as hard for the person with MS, but in a different way, just as hard. After Tina was diagnosed, the inevitable happened, and I left, and I went back to the UK.
They didn't sign up to be married to someone with a disability or with a life that's been changed by something they can't control.
It didn't take a year to realise that I knew where I had to be, and came back.
I met Sandy at a support group meeting.
We met first time at the Disability Information Centre.
We both lost spouses in our 20-odd years of marriage. Sandy had recently gone through the same process.
To meet another man, like I say, with a disability like myself, he could understand what I was talking about. It was great. Suddenly
discovered that we can just laugh at each other. I mean, there are really bizarre things that we do, but we get by, you know, we get things done. And it was only then that we realised it was so difficult for your partner to look at you and not be hurt by what they're seeing.
This is a picture that I did when I was studying art, and it's a picture using the cut paper technique. It is a symbolic picture that I did of myself in a swamp, symbolising my heavy legs. The birds coming out of my head symbolise the bad thoughts that I've had regarding the MS and the depression that came because of that.
I think we're both a lot happier now that we've met each other and things, and I like to think that a positive attitude and things sort of buoys other people and things like that.
Because he is so positive, it had me turn around and say, hey, why am I acting like this? Why am I being so negative? In dealing with MS, I've needed a lot of support. That includes my family, the doctors that I've got, and of course the MS Society have been wonderful. They've given me a lot of information, a lot of help.
They'll assign you, depending on where you live, to a field officer who will come out and visit and just have a look at your house and see what you could do to make it better.
Alison is a field worker for the MS Society in Auckland. She has helped many people successfully make the adjustments needed to live a better life with MS.
Quite often people got ideas that suddenly from being newly diagnosed are going to be in a wheelchair fairly soon, and that's not the case, and so we allay their fears. The trust that comes from regular contact with people is built really through our relationship. We really operate very much on a wellness model where people are looking to deal with the things about MS that present, but really look to see how they can incorporate the things that they now know into a fairly normal approach to life.
I do think I cope with it okay. I manage my time. I actually cook dinner in the morning and then top up at night with rice, but do the bulk of the preparation in the morning.
I would certainly contact the MS Society and the field worker because they will come to you. You don't have to go and be confronted by anything that might be scary.
They're a great bunch of people, they really are, and you know, the people who are involved on the administration side, they do a fantastic job.
I went from being a committee member to being the secretary and treasurer, and then started doing the fundraising, and then ended up managing the North Shore Society. There are two of us in charge of fundraising with the MS Society. My colleague Nicola is in charge of events and marketing, and I do the trust and grants, which is all the paper-based applications. Yeah. Hello, Ali. Hello. So the wheelchair helps when it comes to talking to people and getting their support. The kind of world that I work in helps me understand the needs of people with disabilities and then how to kind of communicate that to people who will give us funding.
David has been actively involved in the MS Society since 1985, winning numerous awards for his contributions. David is now writing a book based on his own experiences of living with MS.
The associates at Disability Information and North Shore MS Society, they wanted my journey with MS documented. They thought there was so much valuable information in dealing with support agencies and with my personal care workers. People can actually read what it is like to live with a disability, and it doesn't matter whether it's MS or whatever, all the barriers are still the same.
The concept of the MS Art exhibition was Tina's. She now helps to organise the event.
It's the annual exhibition for MS Art, and it's really enjoyable being here and helping Tina and the crew out. And it's a nice space they've got this year. It's normally across the road at the Aotea Centre.
Everything is given to you for a reason. Obviously my MS has progressed a lot more than someone who is newly diagnosed, and it's really good for them to see someone who can still be active in life and is actually achieving a lot.
I went to some MS Society events and things and actually found that really, really good. Initially I thought, I don't want to go and see a whole bunch of people who are sick like me and maybe who are worse and see how bad it could get. When I went to these things, I found it really, really supportive and empowering.
So without further ado, I'd like to invite to the stage to talk to you now Professor George Jelinek.
What was brilliant for us, Bonnie did quite a bit of research, and through that learned about George Jelinek in Australia.
Well, good morning, everyone.
The thing I liked about George's approach was, A, he's got MS, so he's not asking people to do anything that he's not doing and that he's not affected by, and he's a scientist and a medical doctor.
Some researchers believe that vitamin D absorption may be involved in MS. In regions far from the equator, the atmosphere filters out more of the sun's rays, which decreases vitamin D production in the body. Therefore, the risk for MS occurs more in places further from the equator.
10 years ago, when I said you needed to get outside and get in the sun as a way of staying well with MS, there was a general kind of hue and cry about that. The evidence is actually overwhelming.
This revolution of slip, slop, slap, which is such a new thing, could be having detrimental effects to our overall health.
I'm really, really glad that we went, because it's enabled Bonnie and I to cope with this condition in a much more positive and healthy way.
Getting yourself really in good shape in a general sense is really important. And right up near the top of that list is nutrition.
I grew up on, the traditional New Zealand diet of, lots of butter and meat, and it was all homemade and home cooked, but it was high in fat, so it made sense to me.
My advice would be to follow George Jelinek's diet, definitely right from the start, and definitely take vitamin D.
I found, particularly once I went off the dairy products, the fatigue eased quite a bit.
Every week, Tina travels to Albany on Auckland's North Shore to go horse riding.
Because I'd been in my wheelchair for a couple of years before I went riding, I'd lost all my upper body strength and I couldn't sit unsupported. I have hand controls in my car, so it was really important for me to be able to transfer my chair into my car and carry on being independent and get myself around the place.
Riding with the assistance of volunteers helps Tina safely develop her strength and balance.
I watched a National Geographic program about the benefits of riding for people in wheelchairs, and specifically for people with neurological conditions. Riding is exactly the same gait as a human's gait, so it can teach nerves to take over the work of nerves that have stopped working, or it can reignite nerves to make them work as they used to. I come 3 times a week. I usually ride for about 40 minutes at a time. Because I can't feel my leg, it takes a lot of effort to stay upright. This is a lot of the stuff that strengthens my core strength, because the horse is moving all the time underneath me. He's always shifting his weight and he's not a solid object to sit on. You know, to sit with your hands in front of you without holding onto the horse is hard, but if you change your centre of balance, and it makes it more of an effort to sit upright, to hold on. If I'm holding hoops, I can't hold on to anything, so it makes it more challenging. More my brain knowing where I am and trying not to fall off the horse, really. You know, I'm sliding is one of the things that comes to mind. So it's, you know, it's a hard thing to do, but I can do it.
For me, it's a matter of use it or lose it. You have to with MS. We go to West Wave Gym, which has machines that are good for disabled people, so it's a very easy gym to use.
We have designed a gym that's sort of specific to people with different conditions. Probably come here 2-3 times a week. I don't want to push it too much, but we try and get out as much as possible.
I keep fit by doing swimming as well as water walking, which has been 2 MS groups that I do that with. I feel good and that helps me.
I love it, and you know, these girls are now my friends, and I catch up with them once a week, and that's nice. I think that my MS has improved. I'm going to put it down to the swimming.
If there is a good time, it is a good time to have it, because yeah, they may come up with a cure next week.
You know, we look normal, except we wobble or we don't walk or run as we used to.
I don't want to be Bonnie who has MS. I want to be Bonnie, oh, and she happens to have MS. It's a part of who I am, but it's not me, it's not everything about me.
I'm married to a very positive person. It's not the end of the world. It's just a change in your life, and it's a new direction.
I have a really fantastic life with Roy, and we manage very well together now.
Yeah, if I hadn't got MS, I would never have met Rachel. So, yeah, there's good things in everything.
This program was funded by New Zealand On Air.